How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at how to do an oil change on a 2015 and up R1. If you have any questions or there's anything I didn't cover in the video, drop it in the comments and I'd be glad to help you guys out. You'll enjoy. On this bike, the oil filter will be on the left side, underneath the fairing. You won't have to remove this fairing, but you will have to loosen it in order to gain access to the filter. And the drain plug is going to be on the very bottom of the oil pan underneath the bike. To get started, you're going to need to remove these push pins. I usually just use either a smaller T-handle or a pick to get them out. Be sure to keep your hardware organized as you work. There's many ways to do this, but I prefer to use a paper plate with labels on it so that I know where everything came from and it doesn't get separated. Next, you're going to need to remove these 3 bolts on the fairing, which are going to be a metric 4, as well as the 2 on this plate, which are going to be metric 5. Once you've removed all of those, this panel should come out and you should be able to move the fairing, which should give you enough space to get that filter out. Now to remove the oil. The drain plug is going to be on the bottom of the oil pan between the Y pipe. It's going to be a metric 6 Allen key to remove it. I like to use a ratchet for this. I'll crack the plug loose and then slide the oil pan under and fully remove the plug to let her drip. I always like to clean the drain plug while I have it off. Be sure to replace the crush washer and reinstall the plug before you begin filling oil. You can use a pair of channel locks to crack the filter loose and then screw it off by hand. There are dedicated tools for this if it's being extra stubborn, and some filters like the K&N come with a nut welded onto the end to make it easier to remove. You can just use a socket for those. I usually have a little piece of plastic I use to funnel the oil straight into the drain pan. If you get any oil on the exhaust, no matter how hard you try to clean it up, it's probably going to smoke a little bit when you first start up the bike. That isn't bad, it's just the oil burning off the exhaust. This time we're using a high flow Filtro filter. They do come pre-lubed with a little bit of shrink wrap on there, but I still like to put a little bit of new oil on there just to help the seal. Before installing the new filter, I also always like to clean the mating surface. And when you install it, you'll screw it on by hand, and you only want it to be hand tied, otherwise you can damage the seal. This is the oil sight glass. You're going to want to make sure that after you're done filling it, with the bike held level either on a stand or held up by a friend, that the oil falls between these minimum and maximum lines. Here I'm using a full synthetic 10 weight 40 oil. The manual recommends full synthetic either 10 weight 40 or 15 weight 50. This bike will take 4.3 quarts of oil. Once you've poured in 4.3 quarts, make sure to replace the fill cap and then start the bike for a few minutes to allow the oil to circulate. Kill the bike and let it sit for another few, and then with the bike held level, either on a stand or just being held up, check the oil level in the sight glass and make sure it's between the lines. Once you have the oil to the correct level, you can begin to put the bike back together. You're going to want to make sure you use up all the hardware, and also everything should go back together smoothly. So if you find yourself having to force something, stop and look at it again. The removed push pin should look like this. The center will be depressed. In order to be able to reinstall it, you're just going to need to push this part through. And then you'll insert that into the slot. And once it's in place, you push it like that. And that causes these little prongs to expand, and that's how it holds it in place. And once you get everything reinstalled, you're ready to go. I like to keep an eye on that sight glass, checking for both level and color of the oil, and I recommend changing the oil around every 3,000 miles. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any extra questions, you can drop them down in the comments and I'd be glad to help you out. If you did find this helpful, I'd appreciate it if you give me a like and a subscribe for more content every week. Until next time guys, peace out.